like somehow they chose, and it was Ajax the Great, and he fought Hector. It was a long battle, but finally he got killed by Hector.
What about, you know how when you hear about the Trojan horse?
Yeah.
Does that fit in?
Yeah, that comes in a lot later though.
Oh, it does. And what's the relationship there to the Trojan horse?
Well, the Trojan horse was used, it was made by Odysseus, and it was his idea to sneak into Troy. It was an offering to Poseidon, and he made horses. So they sailed their ships behind the island, and they put about 100 men in the Trojan horse, and the Trojans decided to bring it to the temple of Poseidon in their city. So they brought it in, and when they were done like drinking and eating and having a party because they thought they beat the Greeks, they went to sleep, and the Greeks opened up the door on the Trojan horse and escaped. And then they opened the gate, and they led all the other guys from behind the island and the ships in, and they burned the city.
Wow, here's a question for you. What do you think that a book like the Iliad or these Greek myths have to teach us today?
Well, I'd say Achilles was kind of a greedy guy because he wanted everything for himself, and so was Agamemnon, but they both thought that each other was greedy. So I think it's teaching us not to blame other people because you're doing the same thing.
Wow, so there's a real connection between these stories and where we are now. Who would be your favorite figure, your favorite character in all the reading you've been doing?
Say Ajax, because I don't think he ever did anything wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
And where did he get that strength of character from?
I think his father probably.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. And what would you, let's make these connections. What do you think you're learning from your father? If you think about yourself as Ajax, let's just imagine.
Well, he's teaching me not to lie and other stuff, and he's teaching me about environmental stuff. He's helping me do my homework.
That's good. Here's a question, and I've never thought about it. Is there
and
any...
manners.
And what?
And manners and that stuff.
Manners. You know, you talked about the environment. Is there anything in the Greek myths that you've been studying, reading, that has a clue how we might respond to the environmental crisis, or thinking about our relationship to the land or the earth?
I don't think they ever thought about that, because when people died, they'd take a bunch of hay and they'd make a big a structure out of wood, and they'd put the body there and they'd burn it.
Huh.
So I don't think they were really thinking about anything like that.
That it didn't have the relevancy that we have now. Huh. I'm going to ask you another question. What about your generation, thinking about your relationship to the earth?
I think we do a lot better because we actually know that there could be environmental crisis.
Like what?
Like the snow melting and everything.
Can you imagine a mythology arising out of our time now that would be read by children and understood like children like you today? Can you think of a story that you'd tell about climate change or environmental crisis? Who would be your figures? Would there be an Ajax there, or a Poseidon, or can you imagine?
Not really.
If you're going to create a story.
About right now? Well, right now it's pretty good, but the environmental is pretty good, but if we continue, then it wouldn't.
I was thinking, what would our Trojan horse look like?
I don't know.
So, last question. Wait, maybe what?
I don't know.
Here's a question for you. Who's your favorite female character?
I'd say Thetis, Achilles.
Why?
Because she's really smart and stuff.
What does she look like?
Nobody actually knows, because they've never explained it in the Iliad.
So when you were making your action figures of the Greeks? What does she look like in your imagination?
I'd say with black hair and smiling, with a blue dress because she's a sea goddess.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And where did these figures come from, do you think?
What do you mean?
I mean, were they real? Were they imagined? Were they part real, part imagined?
I bet a lot of it was real, but all the mythology stuff wasn't and that stuff.
So there were figures like that, and then they just
Probably, yeah.
grew larger through
Like
the...
a tall tale.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, one last story.
But
How would you compare the Iliad with the Odyssey?
well, the Iliad's a war, the Odyssey's a journey. So, really different.
And what's the lesson to be learned from the Odyssey? Who's the main character?
Odysseus.
And what does he learn, do you think, on that journey?
Well, he's trying to stay focused on everything. Like when he lands on an island, he sees that there's all like this great food and pigs running around, and he really wants to stay because there's so many resources and stuff. But he's still trying like to learn to go back home because everybody misses him there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I have been to college. I went to graduate school, and no one as succinctly as you told me that the Iliad was about a war and the Odyssey about a journey. So thank you.